Hello everyone, welcome to the Channel 5 News. I am Idona John Baptist. Stay tuned, we'll be right back after this.
Do you need more cash for that home improvement? Then come to Fast Cash, where we give you more. At Fast Cash, our customers get more funds and more time to repay. But wait, can't come to us? We'll come to you, and our mobile officer will get you on your way. Small businesses, consumers, and taxi owners. Fast Cash has more for everyone. Simply call or visit any of our locations for more. Smarter, faster, better. Fast Cash. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. 10 weeks after Hurricane Maria devastated Dominica, residents of Collio are looking back and sharing their experiences with Channel 5 News. Andrea Dui has that story.
That Category 5 hurricane left widespread devastation in its wake, and though 2.5 months have passed and there has been notable progress in getting the country back on its feet, there are still very visible signs that the country suffered a recent pounding by a weather system. During a visit to the fishing village of Collio recently, a Channel 5 News team encountered one man who admits that nothing much happened to his home and he was actually sleeping during the hurricane.
I sleep all time until the storm follow. Yeah.
Okay. But when you woke up the next morning and you saw Collio, how did you feel?
Yes, when I get up and I see the thing, I say, oh God, something happened, because the way I see it was happening, all wrong, everything just finished. It didn't have nothing like people. It just sick.
Others, though, felt and saw the impact of Maria on their property.
It was the most devastated hurricane ever passed in years, a lot of decades, you know. And it was frightening. It was devastating.
What damage happened to your home?
Well, as you can see, my place is looking sparkling, clean and beautiful. But the debris was up to this height. Here, we used to squeeze to pass on this road. We used to squeeze in the corner there. The debris was to this door. It's whole door here, but it's halves. You know, it's in halves. And this top came out and the one at the front came out. And that whole place was debris. Everywhere here. We did a lot of work here, man, you know, to clear the area. Because the sea went back for about perhaps more than 100 yards. A mini tsunami, and it came back. And then it broke on my house. The sea was up about 75 yards higher up there for a lot of debris. We work a lot here to clear the area like you see it is now. All my flowers were buried because they were this high. Look at them now, they're going back.
September 18th is a date I will never ever forget, because it was not easy for us living by the bay, and the sea was terrible, and I was close to the river as well, and it was not easy at all. But thank God we made it through and we have life still.
What about damage to your house?
Well, my house not as damaged where I am living because of concrete roof, but I get a lot of water. And I have a seawall, but I get a lot of debris as well in my yard. But by the riverside, it was not easy because I take care of an elderly lady as well on the riverside. And I stayed there for like 2 days. And I was very scared because I mean the river was all around the house. So you can imagine, I was very scared.
And when you came outside of the house the morning after the hurricane, or even 2 mornings after the hurricane, what was this scene in Collio like?
No, well, the morning, to be honest, I could not go outside. But when I opened the window and I saw the amount of galvanite outside, and there is a place close to us out there, when I saw their tank, it's like, to me, something was really, really wicked. It had to be a wicked monster, Maria. Sorry to say it so. Because it was just sad. It was just sad. When I saw a lady close to the lake taking care of her house got damaged, another elderly lady as well, her house got damaged, I just started crying. It was very, very sad. It was very sad in Collio.
Well, actually, I was by my brother-in-law's place, because I left my home and I went for rescue, a place of shelter. And this is the first experience I have in my life. It's kind of terrible when you hear this wind and the rain and the force of the river. It was not a good experience. But anyhow, we go through it all.
So what damage happened to your place?
Well, my house itself is just across the other side there. The roof gone, and inside the house, flooding. Water entering the house. In fact, my house is about maybe 10 feet from the river. So you can imagine the force of the river. I got the full blast of it. Okay?
Now, the morning after the hurricane, when you came outside or when you looked outside, what was the scene in Collyho like?
Terrible, man. It's terrible. I mean, look at the stones that the river carry, the volume of stones that block the road to the village, how it is around, blocked. I mean, look at the whole village roof gone, the area where we were taking shelter, on the left side of it, the complete area, every roof there is completely gone.
And Deputy Chairperson of the Collyho Village Council, Celia LeBlanc, says shortly after the initial shock of the devastation of Hurricane Maria, the community started working together to help those in need and restore some level of normalcy. She too recounted her Maria experience.
I actually vacated my home to come to my mom's house, which was in itself a bit of a mistake because the entire roof came off while we were in. My mom is unable to walk, so we could not leave her in the house because she herself did not want to leave her home because my sister tried to get her out a couple days before. So we decided to stay with her. The roof went, windows, the whole house flooded because we were right on the riverbank. The river came, broke the wall, and so it came on the other side of the house, so we were actually surrounded by water. It was horrible. The wind, the sound of the wind, it's like the time stood still, like nothing was moving. All you were hearing was wind and rain, and it was just horrible. Don't want to ever go through that again.
And on the morning after Maria, when you went outside or even looked out the window, what was the scene in Collyho like?
Well, actually, I didn't look out the window. I just went out the window. Wow. Because it's like you had a sense of being confined, and it was a little bit too much. I had my 10-year-old daughter. We were in the water for like 10 hours. So the only thing I wanted to do was to get out, to go find out what happened to my apartment, which was just mainly water. Water damage. There was water everywhere inside. The roof was still on, thank God.
As a councillor and one who, talks to the people and mingles with the people of Collyho, how would you describe their mindset directly after Hurricane Maria?
I think a lot of people was in shock because when you actually came outside and to see like there was galvanized everywhere, water, people without roofs, you couldn't say anything. There's nothing you could say more than to see if everybody around you is okay, and then that's it. There was really no emotion at that time. Like you just thank God that you're still alive and you're breathing, and then everything else will come after. It's bad, horrible. I don't ever want to go through that again.
And did the cleanup and recovery efforts in Collyho after, how was that?
All in all, I would say it was, with the help of the PAL rep, who was on the ground immediately as she could come in. She was here. We had a lot of volunteers. People came out to assist other people to see if everybody was okay. Mainly my role, we have a lot of people that are on insulin. So we had one person with a generator. So I had to find myself to Jubla, to the fishermen, to see if I could get some gas from them for the generator so we could have the insulin on ice so they could get use of that because there was no electricity, of course. You can't get use of a refrigerator. Insulin has to be refrigerated. And so, all in all, I received some good help when we went to Jubla.
What would your message be to your fellow villagers in Collyho on the way forward for the community?
We need to be a little bit more open open-minded. We need to be a little bit more caring. And after Maria, I think some people would open their hearts more. Stop being so selfish, self-centered, and only thinking about yourself. It's not all about you. Sometimes a little help you give somebody, that could go a long way for that person. It could be a pair of shoes, a shirt, something. We need to be a little bit more kind, more appreciative, and more prayerful.
Reporting for Channel 5 News, I am Andrea Louis.
The Builders and Contractors Association of Dominica has described the awarding of a housing project to a Barbadian firm as a lack of transparency in public procurement practices. President of the Builders and Contractors Association of Dominica, Anthony Libra, told the media on Thursday that he learned of the awarding of the major housing contract to Preconco Limited by government in an article dated 24th November on Dominica News Online. Libra says the local construction sector was not given the opportunity to be engaged on possible housing projects post-Hurricane Maria.
Given that the available information suggests that the majority of the building elements normally procured and constructed here from local suppliers is being imported as precast concrete floors, walls, and roof, etc., we are concerned that there will be little opportunity for local value added or trade by downstream local businesses such as hardware stores, aggregate suppliers, etc. This concern is even more acute given the significant loss in employment post-Hurricane Maria and possible evolving in further loss of jobs. The government appears to have failed to use construction as a tool under this major procurement event to create employment and boost the economy in this critical period in our history. Engineers, architects, builders, and contractors, and the rest of the private sector firms have no difficulty in having any Barbadian, Caribbean, or other non-national firm obtaining work in Dominica in a fair and transparent way.
The association has recorded its concerns with the Prime Minister, and according to Libra, they have not gotten a response for an invitation to a meeting.
Why, since Tropical Storm Erica, has the government's procurement process for housing been aimed at taking away the bread and butter from our construction workers, small contractors, hardware stores, and suppliers of local building material? And why is that laudable goal under Section 3D of the Act set aside and abandoned? That is, to foster and encourage broad participation in the procurement proceedings by persons in Dominica. I do not know of any occasion, any procurement event undertaken since Hurricane Maria that has allowed locals a transparent opportunity to participate.
A position paper presented to government by the private sector community has not yet gotten a response by the state. The Dominica Business Forum made several proposals to government in a letter dated October 30 in anticipation of a private-public sector meeting on the post-disaster recovery. However, DBF's President Severin Mackenzie says the organization has again not been invited to a forum with government to discuss its concerns.
We have not succeeded in getting an audience with the Prime Minister, and we are sending him a fourth letter requesting a meeting to discuss the position paper that we presented and the many concerns that the private sector has. Well, I'm not the private sector. We are a private sector organization, so there are many private sectors.
While the Prime Minister has not met with private sector representatives, government has, however, responded to the plight of the private sector since the hurricane. Prime Minister Skerritt announced on Wednesday that the interest rate of existing loan facilities for hoteliers, manufacturers, and farmers has been lowered.
What we have done after the hurricane is to engage the stakeholders. So we engage the Manufacturers Association, we engage the Hotel and Tourism Association, and we also engage the DIC on revisiting the conditions of these loans and to see to what extent we could make certain amendments to these loan agreements to allow them to be more accessible by the potential borrowers. And based on proposals from the various stakeholders, and on advice from the Ministries of Tourism and the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Commerce, the Cabinet took a decision yesterday to review these loans. So one of the decisions we took yesterday at the Cabinet is to reduce the interest rate from an all-time low of 3% to a further low of 2%. All put together, you're talking about 12 plus 15 or 27 plus 8, that's $35 million available to the private sector.
Mr. Skerritt says property owners providing accommodation for Ross University students can also access the hotel loan to repair their properties. Meantime, Mackenzie, as president of the Manufacturers Association, says a request was also made to government to revisit the conditions for the loan facility.
So we did submit a proposal to the government, because you'll remember that sometime in August there was an agreement signed between the government and the aid bank from $15 million that was supposed to be made available for the manufacturing sector. So after the hurricane, with the decimation of all manufacturing facilities, we approached the ministry, the government, and asked them for a review of the conditions. And it was really with the intention was that we would look at the manufacturing entities that are able to rebound quickly, because those who depend on raw materials, local raw materials like the coconut oil and those type, will take some time to rebound. But those who do not depend on local raw materials and can source their raw materials and their facilities can become operational. We did present a proposal to the government with some of the conditions, but from the Dominica Manufacturers Association, we have not actually seen the final conditions that the government agreed to.
In other news, government tax revenue has dropped significantly since Hurricane Maria. This is evident from the latest figures released by Prime Minister Skerritt for October and November. Government's current tax revenue falls far short of what it spends each month, including the massive post-hurricane cleanup.
In terms of tax revenue, we were able to raise only $1.1 million for personal income tax. In terms of corporate income tax, $0.07 million. In terms of VAT, $3.3 million, and import duty, $0.8 million, because you recognize that the merchants pay no VAT at the ports and also no import duties for a wide range of items which come into the country. In terms of tax revenue raised in the month of November 2017, personal income tax, $4.3 million, and that $4.3 million would include the taxes on what is popularly known as the double bubble, or the double salary, which the government decided to keep its legal obligation to the public servants, having negotiated this with the unions on behalf of the employees of the state. So the government committed with the agreement to the unions to provide the public servants with these two salaries tax-free, but the state, the government, paid the income tax department the tax amount on these double salaries. So in effect, these public servants got a double or triple commitment there. And our hope is that the public servants will respond in like manner and be productive, be diligent, be true to the terms of references, and also be patriotic in the dispensation of their responsibilities. Because this is our country. This country doesn't belong to one person or a small group of people. It belongs to every single one of us. All of us have vested interest in one way or the other in this country. And in respect to corporate income tax, we've only raised in the month of November $0.002 million. And VAT, $0.3 million, and import duty, $0.4 million. So this is the the government's net tax revenue for the month of October and November.
Prime Minister Skerrit has expressed his gratitude to a number of international organizations for their support to Dominica in the wake of Hurricane Maria. Julian Morris explains.
Some of these include UNICEF for providing cash grants and the UNDP for making available funds for Cash for Work program. The World Food Programme has also come in for mention for delivery of food supplies. DFID has provided 10 to 12 million pounds for Dominica's new climate-resilient water system. Prime Minister Skerrit says a recent CARICOM UN Pledge Conference was extremely successful, resulting in a commitment to Dominica of $1 billion EC. Samaritan's Purse is another organization which has been investing in Dominica since Maria. It appears the organization is taking steps to establish a local presence here, a move which the Prime Minister says is welcome.
We have no difficulty with any regional, international NGO registered in Dominica. As you know, there are laws governing this, and every organization, and I must say that they're not indicating they not want to respect the laws and so on. So I'm not saying that, but there are laws and the processes. We have no objection to they getting registered in Dominica. As a matter of fact, when I met with the leadership of Samaritan Purse, I said, look, we can. That shouldn't be a problem. So I do not know where the issue is. You know, whether it is with the registry or where it is, but from the cabinet standpoint, the office of the Prime Minister's standpoint, there are no objections to that at all. But if any one of them is having difficulties in getting registered, they need to bring it to our attention specifically. I know I have gotten one or two reports from the ministry in respect to the registration, because there's one agency which applied to register, but they did not have some of the information required in the application process as required by law. So they need to pay attention to the criteria for registration. But from a government standpoint, we have no objection to that whatsoever. We are very, very grateful to all of the regional, international NGOs that have been present. They've been exceptional in assisting us in our relief and our recovery phase.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit is reassuring Dominicans that sports will not be left behind in the post-Maria recovery efforts. Kenny Williams has that story.
In Wednesday's press briefing, Mr. Skerrit pointed to the restoration of Windsor Park Sports Stadium as one of the projects on government's agenda to receive attention soon. The sporting ground usually hosts national, regional and international activities.
No, I don't think it has been left out at all. It's not left out. There's some playing fields that were not impacted by the hurricane at Benjamin's Park. There's been cricket on the Benjamin's Park. There's been football on the Newtown Savannah. The Vickers playing field is intact. The Tebow playing field is generally intact. It wasn't flooded. We had some mud coming on the Dubla playing field, but that was cleared. So the number of playing fields intact. The Windsor Park was dramatically impacted, but it's been utilized to house, and has been being used to house people from September 19th. Sorry, but assessments have been done on the playing fields. The ministry has a report, so I have no doubt that they could make a presentation next week on the state of playing fields across the country. But in everything you have to decide what, in the scheme of things, where do you place your priorities? What do you focus on at any given day or time? But it is not that these things are not part of the government's consideration or the ministry has not paid attention to it. I will say to you that the designs of the indoor sporting facility which we started before Maria, I've been given instructions for us to complete those drawings. We may not be able to start it within the timetable because we had intended. But it's important for us to have those designs and engage the public, and where do we place this in the order of priority, considering how much money you have and the cost of reconstruction and rebuilding the lives of so many citizens in the country. The Windsor Park, for the some of the reasons you mentioned, will be given some level of priority for the re-roofing and addressing some of the damage caused by the hurricane. So that, in terms of national projects, the Windsor Park is part of that. Okay, we have to completely re-roof the Windsor Park, and we just bought a very expensive scoreboard that has been completely destroyed. We have to replace the two poles. The lights have been which have got broken and destroyed. So there's a lot of money to be spent there, but it is an important state asset, and will certainly require some attention, because you're right, it is the heartbeat of many activities, from Creole Festival to sporting activities and social engagements.
Meantime, Minister for Sports Justina Charles says the development of the plan for the multi-sports complex is expected to continue till the construction document is ready. She says the restoration of Windsor Park Sports Stadium should be among top areas to receive attention, since it could help generate much-needed economic activity.
We've been in communication post-Maria with the company in Puerto Rico who we engaged. We signed a contract with to do the design for us. They had already done the schematic design, and they did a presentation. We have given the green light to continue with the development of the plan. So they will work until they reach the construction document. So once they can give us the construction document, I cannot speak to we deferring it yet, but definitely it's something that we may have to. It's possible, because we now have, as a country, to set priorities. Sports is definitely important. So once the Minister of Finance can now say, all right, we can still get the funds to run with our indoor sports facility, we will move ahead. But for sure, we have given the green light to continue with up to the construction document phase. So once we have the construction document, the next step is to source funds, and once we can get these funds, because already the fund was already identified. But now that we were struck by Hurricane Maria, we have not discussed in detail what is going to happen in terms of that, whether we are going to continue with it or whether, but I know in discussion with the Prime Minister, we have decided to move up to the construction document phase. We want to bring back the stadium back to normal in the shortest possible time, so that in the event of cricket, because we still have to begin to generate revenue in the country. So if that is one of the areas we can generate some revenue, we have to bring it back to usable condition.
The Prime Minister and Ministry of Sports assures the local sporting public that sports in Dominica will be given its due attention as government continues to chart the way forward for the country post-Hurricane Maria. When will sports return to normal? That's anyone's guess. Reporting for Channel 5 News, I am Kenny Williams.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth, or call 445-5001, 275-5003 today.
This has been the Channel 5 News. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Idona Jean Baptiste. Thanks for watching. Join us again tomorrow.